Optimus, control your tempo.
Optimus, stop!
Optimus, control yourself.
Hey, yo, Optimus is pounding Soundwave. Golly.
Optimus, stop.
Whoa! That's some nice two-on-two action there.
Hey, yo, what the
Yeah, that's my guy voice. I voice Soundwave because he's my favorite
Optimus was
Decepticon.
clapping Soundwave.
Yeah, that's
Nope.
really good.
Soundwave.
Very impressive.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Freaking beat him into stasis lock.
it's not over yet. I don't think.
Beaten to death.
Teletron,
Yeah,
create a
my
new
character,
voice.
like,
Redirect.
he's very strong but quieter.
He's clapping Soundwave.
I swear.
Yeah, Soundwave is my favorite Decepticon communication officer since last year. I voiced him.
Mhm.
That was it.
Yeah, even though Soundwave was my favorite Decepticon, I did use G1 voice. So I had to make my
Yeah.
voice
I mean,
clear.
He definitely reminded me of the RID 2015 Soundwave for sure.
Yeah,
Had similarities to it, and I loved it very much.
true. Even though
I still.
Yeah,
Carry
it was
on.
me. I honestly forgot I voiced Barricade. Like, I've been so caught up with Starscream, and I honestly forgot about him.
Just
Damn.
forget the character.
Yeah. Soundwave was, like, for Robots in Disguise, voiced by Frank Welker. Like,
Yeah.
he's my
Well,
favorite.
the vocoder,
voice actor.
it sounds very similar to what you did. What you did, it sounds very similar to RID's. Very, very similar. That's why I said that. Because the
Yeah.
voice itself, Frank Welker pretty much does the same voice. I think the only time it's a little different is in the Bayverse. He sounds more wispier. He sounds-
No,
Yeah.
so Frank Walker's Soundwave is based on his claw from Inspector Gadget. It's
Yeah,
just
That's it.
from
similar.
Yep.
from the original
Yep, that's-
cartoon series.
Yeah, the
They
one.
had the robotic overlay, so you didn't get the claw effect. But obviously in the Bayverse, they didn't give him the robotic
vocoder,
overlay. So
yeah.
he just sounds
No,
like the
He
claw.
went more of a calmer approach where he's more gentle on the voice, but he still has that roughness to it. It's very unique, I would say.
Yeah. Even though I try to do Dr. Claw voice, it's a bit rusty for me to do it, so for Soundwave vocoder, I found like the MP3 nailed vocoder from the website I download, so I try to improvise, sounded clear.
I see. Interesting.
Yeah.
What a-
good.
Many
What a-
voice actors had to do Soundwave, like Stevie P83 did Soundwave, because he did Soundwave like using the vocoder,
I know
it
who
sounded
you're
like
talking
the
about.
Earthrise version,
Mhm.
or likely say like Earth Wars version from the game.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Other dudes work too.
The most complex thing for me when I do voices, Barricade was definitely the easier voice because he's such a gruffy voice. The Starscream, the reason why he was so complicated to do was because I had to kind of I had to make an approach to use less roughness and gruff. Because Vern told me he wanted my Starscream to sound more similar to RID 2015 Starscream versus in Prime. In Prime, he's more gruffy, and in RID, Steve Blum went more calmer. So
Yeah.
had to kind of go
You
for
do
that
it.
approach. It was difficult because, another Starscream I do is the Cybertron games, and his voice is very loud and gruffy, and those voices kind of merge into together, and it's kind of hard to do. But I think I did pretty well overall. But even though if I do a gruff, thankfully that vocoder kind of eliminates the gruffness. So it's very
Yeah.
useful in that department. But yeah, I was gonna put a robotic effect on Barricade, but I think Vern told me that he liked Barricade without the roboticness.
Yeah. I even did had to use the vocoder likely robotic modulation effects on my Autobot Decepticons. So I did Bone Crusher, same as when I did Octane. Like I use Adobe Audition, like modulation and Hell Chorus effects.
That's what I do for everything. Except for Starscream, I use a new plugin. I found, I forget what it's called, but it's like some type of delay, and I just messed with it. It was actually I looked up a Darth Vader. I was originally gonna do like a an Optimus Prime Darth Vader type of thing. But for Nemesis Prime, that make his robotic effect different versus the Optimus. But then I messed around with the robotics and used it for Starscream, and I added some extra modulation.
Bumblebee, I am your father.
Yeah. and then I added the Starscream voice, and he sounds pretty good, and I was pretty happy with VFX and stuff like that. But
even though I did Astro Train voice back in the year 2020, so I did. So after I got my new microphone, so I had to like update the improvise since like Fortress Maximus IDW told me to make it sound like G1 version, so I had to improvise using like change pitch and the echo effects. So it sounded more like G1-ish, but it's still practicing at the moment.
Oh dear God.
Yeah. Even though Astro Train was my favorite Decepticon triple changer, he was truly great by a legend Jack Angel. He was true Astro Train triple changer Decepticon. He was my favorite voice actor.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate.
Yeah.
But
well, what do you guys think of the episode?
I like
absolutely brilliant.
Chef's kiss.
I love what the composer did. He still had that. I love those strains. I love he mimicked Starscream's theme in there. I loved it very much. It was very good.
I like when Wheeljack says about Teletran 1 about his project. He's a very genius inventor. Even Ratchet had to say, like he and Ratchet had made Teletran. It's better.
Yeah, I like this. This is my headcanon. Well, everyone calls it Teletran except for Optimus. He calls it like a whole different thing. I like in my headcanon. He has his AI in his head, so he kind of f's up whenever he says the name of it because it's like the AI is like screwing up his mind. I don't know. I like to have that mindset.
I mean, I might tell a voice actor to like how it's probably said, but I didn't really mind it.
It's fine how it's said. That's how I initially in my head canon why Optimus mispronounces it, because the AI is just like in his head and Optimus is just like screwing up how to say it correctly.
Yeah.
Where the fuck are you?
Yeah. That gave me the same vibes as I don't know, like Halo or Iron Man. Honestly.
Halo was the main inspiration.
Cortana and
for Teletran.
Well, Iron Man, like Jarvis, like appeared with Tony Stark. To be honest.
Or Friday if you count the later movies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of Teletran, what did you think of her character?
Overpowered, broken.
Yeah, it's good.
Hacks.
It's a good voice for it, though, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
Really is. It really is.
Kind of reminds me of the version from 2002 RID.
Oh yeah, that one.
Oh yeah, it's like
she wasn't Teletran in that, was she?
Robots in Disguise. Ty.
She had a different name, didn't she?
Yeah.
But
I think the name was Ty from Robots in Disguise 2001.
Yeah, I think she was the daughter of Teletran, wasn't she?
Yeah, I think so. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, but she broken.
Yeah.
She
That's all
was
I
a
gotta say.
she was a fun character to write for the series.
Might as well put Doomslayer music on whenever Optimus is around with her. Especially when that sword is out. I mean, someone might as well get this episode, download it, and just put in intense Doomslayer music
Intense
right when he
Doom
pulls
music,
that,
please.
right when
I
he pulls
might
that
do
sword
that.
out.
I might do that.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
And just imagine like someone makes like an intro version. You know that thing? I think it was in the 2016 of Doom 2016, where you know he's like the Doom Slayer. You know that thing.
Oh yeah.
Imagine that, but it's like Soundwave saying this, but it's like and instead of
Get it.
but
Time.
but instead of Doomslayer, it's like
Downslayer.
and he's like,
And his name was Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Well, for Soundwave, like, is there? Imagine
That's
Soundwave
stupid.
says there.
Next time, Optimus. Next time.
That could be a meme, like right when Optimus is about. Okay, that gave me Kratos vibes. If you guys seen God of War 3, like
Oh,
with
Yeah,
yeah.
I know what you mean.
crap. He's beating the crap that one. I think it was the Speed God, or I can't remember which god it was, but Kratos was beating the living shit out of him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends which one, because you had Hermes, he chopped off his legs and he just died of blood loss.
Well, there was that one. I can't remember the gift of it, but
Does the guy has fiery hair? Like the hair has something.
I don't
that's
remember, but it's where Kratos is just beating the shit out of this guy repeatedly.
And that would be the first god, Poseidon, if it's a proper beatdown. It was Poseidon, the one did he stab his eyes afterwards with his
I don't
thumbs?
remember. Like I'm not like I know about God of War because my best friend, like he's like really into it and he's told me about God of War 3. But I
Oh, I
haven't
see.
personally played it. But he's shown me like gameplay of it, you know, and all that, but I haven't personally played it. I just know
Wait,
that
wasn't it Zeus he beat to death?
He did beat
don't
down
remember.
Zeus as well, yeah. At the very, very end.
Let me see if I can
Yeah,
find
I'm
it.
He also like curb stomped Prometheus. I don't know if that was God of War 3 though.
It might have been not God of War 3. I'm trying to find the GIF because there is a GIF of it where he's just beating the crap out of her. Of course, in the GIFs I find Kratos dancing. Fortnite. Gotta love it.
Yeah.
I've seen so many memes about that
Yeah.
on TikTok.
I'm glad Sentinel and Megatron had worked together, but even though Sentinel and Megatron had discussed the plans about the Ark, I must admit, Sentinel has kept many information, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I found this gift.
Yeah, I just saw it in the chat. I was just laughing.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, I'm still trying
Oh,
to
yeah.
find this.
That's God of War 2019.
That's God for yeah.
Oh, I found it. It's right here.
Let's go.
Right there.
Oh, when he's beating on Hercules.
Oh,
I remember now.
Yeah, but that reminded me when Optimus was doing that to Soundwave. I'm like, I got Kratos vibes there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that scene is going to be talked about in the next episode.
I could imagine, yes.
Even though I did add some
Jesus
like
Christ.
effects for my Soundwave because I had it. He was beaten up like grunting,
So
grunt beaten up.
I can't remember. It sounded like dead.
Dead.
Yeah,
my God.
yeah, it was.
Hang on.
Optimus gonna have a breakdown.
Down or something.
Nemesis
Yeah,
Prime,
he
question
did.
mark?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Shadow glass Optimus Prime. This man is going to go insane. Oh yeah, definitely.
Never know.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Have Optimus yell when he's beating up Soundwave next time. Just have him yell.
We are not the
eyes,
descendants.
not that. Like, his eyes spark up purple, like or red, whatever choosing. And he just yells, "I am Nemesis Prime."
Yeah.
It'd be so stupid, but
Imagine he
hilarious
just
at the
pulls out a
same
hammer and
time.
just slams it on the head. Jesus Christ.
And damn.
Soundwave
It's
just yells.
hammering time.
Soundwave just yells, "What the f?" and just dies.
What the fuck?
Oh, poor Soundwave.
So why I killed Soundwave off? It's kind of a funny story.
So he
I
did
had
die.
Yeah, I had written all 5 scripts, but I had casted Harry as Soundwave before I had written the scripts, and I completely forgot to include Soundwave.
Oh.
So I
Good job.
I wrote that entire like
Scene.
Energon scene just to include Soundwave and then kill him off.
I'm gonna say, I
Jesus.
feel like this is my headcanon about the music, the Decepticon music. I think, even though people might see it as like, oh, this is the Con's theme, I see it as more like, this is Starscream's theme, and there's a bigger picture for his character that's gonna happen in later on in the series. That's
Well,
my
I mean,
headcanon.
there was the scene where Vern, you had Sentinel and Starscream staring at each other.
Yeah,
and
I love
Starscream
that
should
shot.
clearly be moving out of the way, and it's like, okay, so either Starscream's going to be grade A-hole as he always is later on down the line, or it's just a wee moment. So I'm going to go with the former because it is Starscream at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you picked up on that shot with him staring down Sentinel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really need to get like more practice on the voice again. I've been lacking in voice acting, so I need to get back into
Take
it.
time, man. It takes time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I
I
find
have
the
some
editing to be
already.
more annoying, honestly.
What's up?
I find the editing of all of the audio just to be more annoying.
Oh yeah, it really is. Like, you
Oh,
know, I have all
yeah.
the presets. I have all the presets done already. I always make presets for the robotics and everything, you know, to make it sound nicer. So I'm like, okay, I'm good to go. Like the scene I'm gonna be dubbing, a fan dub I'm gonna be working on to keep my Starscream in practice is 2 scenes where you know, he talks to Bumblebee, has a hologram, then when he makes his first appearance in this RID series. So
I think it's like I think it's a scene from Mighty Big Trouble from Robots in the Sky.
yeah. And I have another one I was wanting to do. I need to find a Soundwave guy. I was gonna find someone else to voice Steeljaw. I'm not in this at all. I just want to do it. I just want someone to be involved in it. It would be just cool to do. Because like I'll be interested to see who could do a Steeljaw and then, you know, have a badass Soundwave. And maybe improve Sideswipe
I'm sure
because I
Omni.
thought Sideswipe's voice was annoying as hell.
I think
Oh,
Omni
good
could
lord.
probably do a Steeljaw. I don't know. I haven't seen if he's done it before.
I could provide
Oh,
Soundwave,
hey, Irish.
but it will take
Hey,
time
Irish.
temporarily with the vocoder.
Nidus
That's
Prime,
not enough, man.
Not a fan dub. Yeah, I know it's crazy, bro. It's crazy. Oi.
Oi.
Oi. Oi, friend. I don't know what to about.
This is heresy. Yeah, no, like sometimes I won't be in fan dubs is give other people opportunities to voice act in. I mean, hell, like I've been talking to who's that guy's name? Vern, that Optimus guy that you helped me get.
I actually don't know his real name. I just call him what his Discord name
Yeah,
is.
Optimus
I don't think
Prime.
I don't think he likes telling people his real names.
Yeah,
So
it's just it's just
I
Optimus Prime.
don't
Yeah.
bother because I want to like respect his privacy and all that.
Yeah. So, anyways, he's gonna be voicing in the Bayverse stuff and as well, the Worf Cybertron redub trilogy. So that's gonna be fun. So that is. Oh yeah, we've been kind of talking about that, Vern. Me and Omni leader, if you remember him. I'm pretty sure you do.
Of course, I remember him. How could I forget
Yeah.
that guy?
Well, me and Omni leader been talking. He's gonna be voicing Megatron, and he's gonna be doing a Keith David like Megatron voice for him in the redubbed trilogy. But what we're gonna be doing instead of episodes, right? Like
Is it gonna be like a full film?
It's gonna be like a movie, yeah, for each trilogy, like for Siege, Earthrise, and Kingdom. And
Let's fucking go.
You're gonna like cut stuff out or anything?
oh yeah, cut out the intro being the very beginning for each one, and the rest of it is just gonna be like scenes from from the episodes and stuff like that, and just make it work. Maybe cut some stuff out. I'm probably gonna redo some stuff and all that. It's gonna be fun. I can barely understand you, Eagle.
I honest to God hope you don't do things like how Jetfire spoke, where it was like a second between.
No, Jetfire's voice, I could probably easily show it if I was allowed to stream. Jetfire's voice is very elegant, and I guess the best way to describe his voice, imagine Jetfire's voice has similarities of the War of Cybertron video games, something like that.
Okay.
Oh,
I know which one you're on about. I mean, that would.
Yeah,
I
I'm
only
not a
watched.
fan.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
only
a
watched the
fan
first
of,
season of those Netflix shows, and like, if I'm not mistaken, I think Jetfire was one of the more seasoned voice actors in the show, but for whatever reason, he was directed to just be dull as all high hell.
Anyone could do his voice. All you
Anyone
can
could have done it,
legitimately do, you could do. You're like, what you're doing is causing a genocide. That's all you do.
pretty much. No, you need to slow it down by about a second every time, though.
I mean, there's a lot.
Want to lose that arm again?
Like that's how he talks.
Yeah, there are a lot of problems with that show, and I can't believe it went on as long as it did. I genuinely couldn't go to the Earthrise one. I was like, no, I'm done. That was horrendous.
Yeah, my biggest problem was Shockwave, because Shockwave had more like a Starscream voice. I'm like, Shockwave, you're my favorite character. Okay, the writing for the show I actually really liked, but the voice acting is just like.
The voice acting was fine myself. Just more the voice choices for characters was a bit odd.
Elite, here's a good example. Elita 1 seemed to be cast with the idea of she's just the really naggy, concerned girlfriend. It's like,
oh, you're talking about Elita?
Yeah, but why is that her entire purpose of the show? Like, she is the equal to Optimus Prime in this show, and you made her useless. And then, oh my goodness, another good example of just how the writing just doesn't match with the characters of the show. Optimus makes so many mistakes, and they just brushed off anyway. That's Optimus Prime. He makes mistakes anyway. It's fine.
I like to think this is like Optimus growing into that leader. Like he's still trying to learn how to be a proper leader. I like that aspect.
But he never got there. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like I would 100% agree with you if he got there, but he never did, and he just kind of accidentally falls into being the leader. It's like, no, you don't accidentally fall into being a leader in that sense. Like, you might be thrown into the situation where you then have to step up to be the leader, but Optimus literally made a decision. It's like, this is a trap, by the way, a blatant, obvious trap. Yeah, but we'll go anyway and it might be fine. It's like, no. You now plan for the trap.
Dies.
Yeah.
I like how Magnus was legitimately the only logical person in that whole thing.
Pretty much.
And then he dies for it.
Oh
yeah.
I love Magnus, dude. And it's funny I don't think anyone knows this outside of the Transformers fandom, but it amazes me. That's the same dude that voiced Alistair from Hazbin Hotel.
Wait, was it?
Me. Yeah, it was. The guy who voiced Magnus in Siege, in Siege. That is the guy that voiced Alistair. It's crazy to know that. But I wasn't too surprised about it because I watched behind the scenes a lot for Hazbin Hotel, and if you hear his natural voice, his voice is pretty deep.
Oh damn!
I'm just glad they didn't ruin Hot Rod. That's all I care about. Hot Rod and Rodimus wasn't ruined.
I honestly forgot. I don't think they even showed them.
No, they're
they
not
were
in
never
it.
in the
They're,
series.
they're not
no.
in it. That's why I'm so happy. Like, literally,
Oh.
my favorite Transformer wasn't touched. It's like, oh, thank God you didn't ruin him. Enough people,
Oh,
enough
speaking of
people
Hot Rod.
hate Hot Rod as it is. It's like I don't want people to hate him more with legitimate reason this time.
Fair enough.
Can I just say, I like how this went from talking about what we just watched to off the rails shit.
No, it's usually like this. It's usually like
that
this, and
tends
then
to
I just
happen.
go back in.
Yeah. Yeah,
Before
that
we
tends to
roasted him
happen.
more than the last night. Yeah.
I was actually gonna include Hot Rod in this series. I was gonna replace him for Bumblebee, who was supposed to be in it, but I scrapped both of them. I was gonna have Hot Rod be like brutally murdered.
Oh,
that would have made me very upset, especially if I had to audition for him. I would probably be like, "No, you're not allowed to kill him."
You know, how about you do that?
Like you just said, his favorite Autobot.
Literally my favorite.
How
Like,
about
how
you
dare
do
you?
that, Vern? How about you have done that instead of killing Soundwave? I would have loved that very much. You know what I'm saying?
Well, originally he was supposed to be like there was this entire scrapped episode which I didn't like because it didn't flow fluently with the series. And in that, Hot Rod would get captured and then like
Tortured to
brutally
death?
like tortured to death, yeah. But like Shockwave, who was also scrapped from the series because Sentinel's
That makes me
basically
sad.
Sentinel's basically the no, I wouldn't say the Shockwave, but he's like the smart one on the Decepticon team right now.
I see.
There were a lot of scrap characters, scrap storylines for this series, but I wanted to go with a fluent storyline. It's like they're in the scene where Optimus beats up Soundwave.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a hint that he might turn evil. I won't confirm if he will or not, but like keep close attention to like how Optimus reacts or like behaves in the next episode 3 and episode 4, because like episode 3 is not really much action, but more of a character like focus on the
Development.
relationship. Yeah, with Optimus and Teletran.
Well, I mean, obviously, the end there, Optimus having no self-control and beating down a Decepticon, which I'm assuming you're still kind of having the idea of Optimus Prime, the defender of life itself, to then brutally murder a Decepticon. It's like, that's a bit of character for him. So let's say, for argument's sake, you do have a Nemesis Prime moment without him obviously saying I am Nemesis, because that would just be too much. Obviously, the character who would be the one to talk him down would be Teletran, because she's literally in his head. So she has instant access to every emotion he's feeling. So for her to go
His
through
memory.
Yeah, so for her to go through a moment of seeing, like, granted, I don't know what her entire basis of Optimus Prime is right now, other than I'm inside your head.
I'm in your mind.
Yeah, like, so she
Don't
has.
die.
Yeah, don't die. She has direct access to his
You don't
entire.
die.
Yeah, she has access to his entire being, so it would make sense for her to be the one to say, "Look, you've lost absolutely most of your mind right now. You need to bring it all down and be back to the person that you're meant to be, which is the leader of essentially a dying faction. So you need to get them out of this situation." So it would make sense for her to calm down because, obviously, of where she is currently.
Yeah, the relationship between Optimus and Teletran was really like cool, right? Yeah, like as you saw in the scene, Teletran had to try, like she had to shout for him to stop, and
yeah,
that's gonna be a problem in episode 3. That's all I'm gonna say about episode 3.
There's going to be an argument.
Now,
We don't know. We don't have the script yet.
Now, one big thing, though, I like to imagine. I like to think. I don't know. I feel like Starscream's gonna really mess with Optimus in some ways if he ever gets to Prime in any way.
Like get to his personal side.
Well, like mess with his head, like even
Like
further.
mentally
Actually,
I think the best
Yeah.
person to do that would be Sentinel because
Oh yeah,
he's
for sure.
worked.
yeah.
He's
Yeah,
clearly he's
but
worked
if
Prime
we're
the
going to the
longest.
roots,
Just-
if we're saying if Starscream's going to go to the roots of the classic style Starscream, I would like for him to have like that he wants to be maybe a mature way of being the leader, but also like wants to play and use the bigger ones that are obviously more powerful than him and have more control over them. And since Optimus is in a weaker mindset, he could probably take that as an advantage point.
Yeah,
That is a nice way to think of it.
if I do make a season 2, it's not confirmed yet. It really depends how the series like is overall, and if like you guys or like the cast and crew and the fans want another season. It all depends. That's what I'm doing with like most of my series. If it does well, then I'll make a season 2. If it doesn't do well, then we'll have to leave it. Hopefully Affinity does well, because I do have this storyline for Starscream in if I make an Affinity season 2, which is
I think you need
pretty
to
interesting.
just remember to leave yourself a bit of leeway if you decide to do that, like on the last episode, to say, right, I can actually make a season 2, in case you accidentally write yourself into a corner. It's like, well, I've done stuff that means if I make a season 2, I have to retcon a lot of things. Like just be very careful what you plan for the last episode to then continue on.
Yeah, I've already I usually before writing scripts I already like plan all my episodes. Like I don't write like essays, paragraphs of what that episode happens, just little bullet points here and there. But yeah, but the series, I'm gonna call it the series now because like I don't know if it'll have a season 2. Like the series finale will be like, it'll be a nice like bittersweet, bittersweet ending to it. But like, if I do continue with season 2, I know how I can get through there. I know a storyline for season 2 basically.
I see.
So all the Autobots die except for Optimus, Teletran, and Ratchet. Gotcha.
Oh shit!
I was meant to actually say Wheeljack, and for whatever reason, my brain overtook it with Ratchet. I was like, "Oh, well, I have to run a bit now."
Oh god damn it!
Well, the last 3 Autobots on planet Cybertron.
Yeah. What do you guys think of like Teletran being based off the schematics of Vector Sigma? Because like you saw like some of her abilities. Like, what do you think her character role will be throughout the next 3 episodes?
Just hacks.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
fully a cheat code.
My basis on Vector Sigma is from G1, so Vector Sigma is basically the life giver of Cybertron. So unless you're going down that route with Teletran, I guess she's basically Optimus's conscience. Is the best way I can put it right now.
That's a good way of thinking.
That's one way to do it.
I mean, if you go by off that logic, then if she's in his head, could the Matrix technically be the same one from the Marvel comics that gives life?
You could argue that, but I'll confirm that the Matrix doesn't really play a part in the series. Like I don't.
Wait,
go on.
Sorry.
Yeah, go on.
Oh no, I was gonna ask. Are we going to be getting Nemesis Prime in the nearby future in the series? Because if so, I do wonder how Teletran would work for that.
Yeah, I won't confirm anything, but like, yeah, Teletran is gonna have to be the voice of reasoning for Optimus in some parts of the series. So I won't confirm if Nemesis is gonna appear, and don't worry, he's not gonna be like, I am Nemesis Prime, blah blah blah, die.
Not pulling a last night.
I still have not seen that movie. Thank God.
Good. Don't do it.
Spare yourself trouble. Skip it.
I watched the first 4, and that was enough to put a fucking bullet in my knees.
That's enough.
I actually really loved Age of Extinction. I don't know, something about it just makes me love it.
Because dinosaurs?
No,
Yes.
not really.
That's something like it.
I don't know, something about it just like
The blatant product placement.
For real?
yes.
Yeah.
I will
Oreo
make
bot.
a Studio Series version of that Oreo bot. I will make him the main character of a series.
That's a story about Audiobot.
I don't think I'm even joking.
I'm going to watch it, definitely.
That'd be amazing. I don't know why someone doesn't do like a spin-off Transformer series with like all the one-off characters, like Oreobot, Road Hauler. Why hasn't anyone done that yet?
Money.
Oh, true.
We don't have the figures. We can't do it.
Although Bumblebee did well, it didn't do well enough, to my understanding.
We need.
I mean, it did well enough to like produce a follow-up to it, but
I mean,
yeah.
the follow-up is Rise of the Beasts, so that's an ensemble cast again. So it's not
a solo, yeah.
It's not a solo one.
Is this all of a sudden there's all 7 factions of all of Transformers in one movie?
Yeah.
That's
One
good,
hour.
yeah.
Yeah, that's my biggest concern about that.
All I see is everyone be like, "Oh, thank God Michael Bay's not making it." I'm like, you don't need Michael Bay to ruin a movie. Like anyone can do that.
Yeah.
Ruining a movie is a skill these days.
It's
Isn't
funny.
he actually on the set, like helping with the filming?
Yeah,
but as a production, not the director.
Yeah, he's
just
the
coordinating the explosion.
Yeah, producer.
Actually, he's helping filming the action parts of the movie, so he's still involved.
That's one thing he's good at.
Well, yeah, I think everyone could agree. If you're gonna say no, that's a little biased, but I think everyone could agree that even in the Dark and the Moon, especially the action in that movie was it was really good.
Yeah.
Like for me, I think my most favorite bits were Optimus versus the Driller, even though that was very quick, or Optimus doing his rage scene, or many other scenes. I just think all the action pieces in most of these movies are really good.
Yeah.
Especially the forest fight. I don't think anyone can go wrong with that.
Oh, the forest fight.
Oh, yeah, that was
best
amazing.
one night stand.
Plus, they added the deleted scenes that made it even better.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Poor Megatron, dude. Like, Optimus literally slapped him with his Energon blade, and Megatron's like... And if you actually pay attention to that scene, Megatron's literally... He's trying to fix his face while the other two Decepticons are, like, beating the crap out of Optimus, and Megatron's like, okay, I fixed my face. Come here, Prime.
And then by the end
Alright,
of the
I'm
film,
done.
half of it just gets shut off.
Yeah, but it's funny, though, because that kind of, like, foreshadowed the whole thing in the end. What happened to Megatron at the end? He got blown in the face.
With his own arm cannon.
Yeah, because, like, if they kept that deleted scene in theaters, it would have been like, okay, that's foreshadow, because, he got slapped in the face, and he's, like, messing around with his face. He's trying to fix it and all that, and I don't know. It's a kind of like a cool thing. I always appreciate those. I always appreciate those. I really like those moments, like, but it's unfortunate that we didn't have those kind of deleted scenes anymore, like robot scenes anyways. Most of the deleted scenes they chose were
the human characters.
Yeah. I don't see why Revenge of the Fallen was so hit. I could see it, like it's called Revenge of the Fallen, and the Fallen wasn't really the villain.
Revenging of anything. It's just
He didn't really revenge anything. He just sat there on a chair.
So this is how I see it. It's a good movie in this aspect. At the Decepticon movie, it gave me Revenge of the Sith vibes. It's a Megatron focused film. That's why I liked it.
Yes.
I guess that's probably where they got the name from. The title.
Yeah.
No, Megatron was fallen, then he rose back up.
Yeah, but again, the thing with me though is that movie literally redeemed Megatron for me because in the first movie they hyped Megatron just to die. In the Revenge of the Fallen, he actually did shit.
I'm back from my
Okay,
I'm back from my
I'll be honest.
isolation.
I've not seen Revenge of the Fallen in a long time, but
Okay, I'll put it like,
Megatron's a bitch in that movie.
okay,
Like he gets totally. So okay, so he gets hold on. He gets remade. Hold on. He finished the very first thing he says basically to Starscream or something. Was like,
I'm home.
yeah, honey, I'm home. Like, I'm the leader of the Decepticons. No one tells me what to do. And then he goes into another room and he goes, "Oh my lord, how are you?" It's like contradicting much. Then he goes. He's acting all like I'm the toughest, most powerful Decepticon the world's ever seen, and he gets his ass handed to him by Optimus Prime while Optimus is fighting two other Decepticons. Like. Megatron is so unbelievably weak in this movie, I don't even find it funny. And then, once Optimus is brought back to life again, he just completely wrecks everyone. The Fallen lasts not even 2 seconds, and Megatron's just like, I'm just gonna whimper out of this one. It's like, you're creating... No worries. You are creating this character who's meant to be badass, and at every turn, he gets his shit kicked out of him, pardon my French, and it's like, this doesn't work at all. So, granted, I've not seen the film in a long time, but from how I remember it, everything about Megatron annoyed. Like, there's a lot of things that annoy me about that movie. One of the main things being the writing is absolutely atrocious.
Oh, good lord!
The writing's like, let me be perfectly clear. If you enjoy the movie, mate, love it for as much as you want. But I cannot love that movie.
Yeah, for me, this is the reason why I liked it was. Megatron was not that interesting to me in the first movie. I mean, I thought he was cool, but he didn't do a lot for me to like be like, oh, he's badass. Like the fight between him and Optimus was underwhelming. It's kind of like the same thing in Predacons Rising. Like Unicron finally about to face off Optimus, and it was so underwhelming. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. And in the second film, Megatron coming back, you know, one thing I thought is Megatron getting his body. Then he gave me Golden Frieza vibes, where he's like, oh, I got this new body, so I'm gonna try to beat the shit out of my sworn enemy now. And you know, he got his ass handled, and he doesn't know how to properly to use it. And so he was like, okay, I need backup, and he called Starscream and Grindor. Grindor died, of course. Starscream lost an arm. Megatron's like, I'm gonna be a bitch and stab you from behind. But seriously, I really did like Megatron in this movie because, you know, it showed he's not like, there was one thing I didn't like about Transformers Prime, that how the writers were simps for Megatron, Rudder, and Bavers, that they were able to show the flaws of Megatron, if that makes sense. Like, he's not like, not just this easily powerful Cybertronian. And that was my biggest problem in Prime. Like, when I look at, if I was writing Optimus and Megatron, their fights should be ultimately balanced. One shouldn't be winning over the other. Like, one guy should be winning for a little bit, then it should be balanced over time. And I thought it was kind of BS over the time in Prime. Like, half of the time Megatron was always winning. I was kind of shocked that one time, I think you guys know what I'm talking about, where Optimus actually won for a little bit in the volcano battle in Prime.
Yep. Season 1, episode 23, I think it was.
Yeah, it was season 1, but it was just like, I'm like, oh my god, they're not being simps. They're actually going to let Optimus win. And Megatron catches the blade. I'm like, oh, never mind. There could be simps.
Bitch, you fought wrong.
And then he rips Optimus' sword in half and jabs it into his shoulder.
Yeah, it's just like, come on, guys. Can you let Optimus at least have one win? And they finally let it happen in Beast Hunters. But I didn't like it because, like, Optimus died for a few seconds and came back. I'm like, they did this shit again. Bumblebee died. He came back in a few seconds. Megatron died. He came back into the next movie. I'm like, when you kill off someone, let them stay dead.
Yeah, but you have to remember, Optimus Prime came back as Chungus Prime.
Yeah, but my problem is when you are killing off a
And
character.
Chungus Unicronus.
Yeah, I know, but my biggest problem when they kill off a character in that series, they don't
they need
have
to
the
stay dead.
balls. They don't have the balls to let them stay dead. That is my problem with that show.
Oh no, yeah, comics
I
are
agree.
bad for it as well. You need to let characters die.
Yeah.
If I kill someone in any of my projects, they are dead.
Yeah,
Makeshift.
and that's why I like it.
Unless their revival actually plays a part in the story.
Yeah, exactly. But even with Bumblebee's revival, it's just like in Prime, in the Beast Hunters, it's just like they make his death so emotional, so dramatic. Even Optimus has a mental breakdown, is beating the shit out of Megatron. He's going to kill him, and then at the last minute, Bumblebee comes back. It's just like
I'm back, bitch, with my voice.
It ruins it. It literally ruins it. The payoff is Bumblebee has his voice again. Oh my god, you have your voice back.
The only thing I like about Bumblebee getting his voice back is the fact that he's voiced by Terry McGinnis from
Yeah.
Batman.
Oh no.
That's it. That's all I cared for.
Yeah, that is cool. But I think the payoff should have been Predaking killing Megatron because the way they wrote him off was pretty dirty, in my opinion.
Predaking seemed to be a nothing once he was created.
Yeah. Yeah, he was poorly executed overall, but
Season 3 was poorly executed overall, to be fair.
Yeah. But I think if they at least have, the way I imagine Predaking, the great comparison I give to people is, imagine Scorpion from Mortal Kombat never killed Quan Chi. Imagine that never happened. That's how I feel about Predaking never getting the opportunity to kill Megatron. Just let that go for your mind.
I mean, Scorpion did kill Quan Chi.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying a what-if scenario. You know what? I'm gonna
Why
hurt
can I
you.
just imagine Predaking just saying, "Get over here now"? Why?
Well, when you think about it, Predaking's initially like Scorpion in many ways. At least the whole revenge piece. At least he's has the similarities. That's why I compare him to that.
I mean, you're not wrong. He did think it was the Autobots, but then it was Megatron after all who eradicated the others, so that makes sense when you think about it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just I would have preferred it was Smokescreen too. Would have been fine if it was Smokescreen. I mean, he had some history, but even then, it would have been better was just Predaking. It just makes sense because they just built it off in season 3, and that's my biggest issue with the writing in this show. They build something and then they never
did anything with it. Yeah,
it's just annoying.
Anyway. There was one scene I really liked from season 2. I wish I could remember the words, but my memory's terrible. And it's basically when Megatron's coaxing Prime. It's I can revive Cybertron, by the way, and all the other Autobots are going, "Oh my god, we can actually have our planet back!" And then Prime just destroys the device that does it. This was my favorite moment for 2 seconds because one of my biggest issues with Optimus is that he's just Jesus Christ and he can do no wrong. And the other characters just turn to him and say, "What the hell have you done?" It's it makes sense. Trust me, guys. No, we don't care if it makes sense.
Because it's engraved into my head.
It amazes
Optimus,
me when
we needed that.
It amazes me praise Prime's writers so much because what makes me laugh when people praise those writers and shit on any of the movies is just I always bring this up because it's very contradicting because the writers of Prime are the same writers of the Bayverse, and it always makes me laugh. It always makes me laugh when someone's like, "Oh, the Prime writers are better than the Bayverse writers." I'm like, no. They're the same writers? You're contradicting yourself right now. But they're the same writers from 07. I think my personal favorite out of all the Bayverse movies, it's hard for me, it's hard to pick. I watch all of them. I literally watched all of them yesterday. I'm like, damn, I had to pick. because one of my
First
family
one.
members. Everyone says the first movie for nostalgia purposes.
It's still
or-
crap. Like, let me be very clear. It's still crap.
Oh no!
I
The
still
first
think
movie,
it's the strongest, just
the first
ever so
movie.
slightly.
So the first movie, it's good, but my problem is how they hyped Megatron. You know, this
Just for him to die.
here's the nutshell. Here's the nutshell for Megatron. He wakes up. He was like, "Hey, Optimus!" Shoots Optimus, kills Jazz, chases boy, convinces boy,
Pisses me off.
fights
Chases
Prime,
boy.
dies.
Kisses boy.
No, he
Come here, boy.
chases boy, then he dies, and it's just like, I don't know, like
I wonder if they ever had a plan to
that's why
not bring him back.
Revenge of the Fallen. That's why they redeemed Megatron for me, because he did so much in that movie, and Megatron and Fallen's relationship reminded me of Palpatine and Vader. Like Megatron did a lot of shit, while Fallen's like, I'm just gonna sit in the background and just
Well,
vibe. stuff.
you have to remember that the Fallen was imprisoned on his chair until Optimus Prime died.
Oh yeah, and I'm working on a fandom, and I'm gonna get a better Optimus actor. But what's gonna make it better is when Megatron says "You're so weak" when it goes to the Fallen, wake it up. I thought it was kind of random when Fallen wakes up and he's like, "The last Prime is dead." I had this idea where Megatron's voice echoes to the Fallen, where he says "You're so weak," and that's how the Fallen wake. He was like, "Oh shit, he did it!" So he wakes up, and he's like,
"Oh shit, he done it."
He's like, "Oh shit, he's dead."
No. I'm just being funny right now. The Fallen actually is serious, and he opens his eyes, of course, like in the movie, and he says the last Prime is dead. But you hear Megatron saying, "You're so weak," and that echoes.
And the Fallen's like, "Are you talking to me or?"
Am I the weak one, or he's the weak one?
But,
What the fuck?
No. He just goes down to kill Megatron. Like, how dare you?
I mean, hell, Starscream's voice.
Like, who do you think you're talking to?
Now, in my dubs for Starscream, his voice is very different. If any of you play Revenge of the Fallen, the game, at all?
Oh, I did,
yeah.
I did.
I have that on the Wii.
I implement that voice into the movie for the fandom.
Oh, that's actually pretty nice.
I'm one of those weirdos who really doesn't like the Fall and War for Cybertron games.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like them at all.
What?
Yeah, I think they're quite shite.
Be careful not to say that in the re-energized server. There's a server called a re-energized server that revived.
And everyone loves that? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm one of those people who played the games. I mean, I mod the crap out of the games.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I played the
Alright,
crap out
yeah,
of them as
alright.
well. It's just like,
Hey yo.
I think one of the things I really didn't like was how they were pushing this whole idea of these games are the start of the G1 universe. It's like, they're literally not. Like, there's too many contradictions. Don't get me wrong, G1's horrendous for its contradictions.
People say
Technically,
it's
they're
with a
part
line.
of the TF Prime universe.
They're
but
they are now part of Prime.
I don't connect them. I don't connect the War for Cybertron games with Prime. I'm like one of those few people that don't connect them now.
Oh, yeah. Same here.
I will
just
say,
I just
though-
play the game normally.
I just put them in a separate continuity because, like, I don't.
They do feel different after all.
I love the designs, especially Optimus's design in War of Cybertron and FOC. Their designs are like really, they're really.
They're too chunky for me. I don't like them because they're just too chunky.
No big chungus?
They're too big chunk. I don't like Chungus Prime. What can I say?
But you like the one in Prime?
I didn't like the one in Prime. I thought that was ridiculous. I was genuinely excited when they killed off Prime. It's like, oh my god, they're actually going to kill him off. And I was like, wait a minute, this is Transformers. They're going to bring him back to life through utter nonsense, and they brought him back to life through utter nonsense. So,
while I agree, the only thing I was happy to see though was I was glad that the writers were like, they've been bitching at us that we've been giving Megatron all the glory. So let's give Optimus one moment, and they finally did it, where Optimus completely destroyed Megatron, like thrown him into his throne, threw his one of his cannons, electrocuted his ass, destroyed his freaking his giant tower thing. It was just like, I'm like, writers, oh my god, you listened.
The reason I don't like it is because it's basically a Deus Ex Machina. Because Prime was dead, and then whatever Prime was talking to Smokescreen was like, by the way, you're going to be the next Prime. And Smokescreen's like, I don't want to do this. Oh, I know. I'll just grab Optimus Prime's body and just slap him with the Matrix, and that should do something, and it did.
Oh, you mean the Forge? The Forge.
You mean
That was at the Forge, yeah.
Hammer time.
Yeah, basically. And then Optimus is like, I am now Chungus Prime, and he
the
can
writers
fly.
got rid of that. The writers got rid of that Forge. Like, Magnus used it, and Predacoon's like, he's like, oh, you loved using this?
Rips it in half.
Rips it in half.
Yeah.
And yeah, oh my god, it's just so sad.